people were killed.
I ain't a super gangster, but I clap mine. It only take one bullet to see a flat line. Hit him in the head! We on that time. I put your ass in the sky like the bat sign. No, it's hot. I'm like 100 killers, no shot. This, yeah, these suckers won't get me.
6 million ways to die. Choose one.
Don't pick me.
I brought that up to say you talked about not having a culture in America. Black people don't, but hip hop is a culture.
Hip hop is a culture that came along 45 years ago, 40,
Brand new.
45. It's still new. It's still working through it.
Right.
And we're still dealing with people within it that don't trust each other. So being able to cultivate it properly. Think about this. There's a guy who's gonna make a record tomorrow who never heard Run DMC. And he's not gonna care. Why? Because one thing that we as a culture don't do is cultivate our culture. So we're not making sure that that 15-year-old kid understands you want to rap because of Run DMC. That guy who thinks he's a nice MC, he's not going, well, no one's going, you want to be nice because of Grandmaster Caz.
Or Grandmaster Flowers.
You want to be nice because of Grandmaster Caz because he was the first nicest MC.
Got you.
And Marty Marl was the first DJ to sample records.
Yeah, sample properly.
So he put it...
Like you know what I'm saying? Like, so because we don't cultivate our shit the right way, there's motherfuckers who think Run is a pastor.
That's it. Right.
They don't know that he's one of the best performing MCs
And Will
ever.
Smith
How
is
about
just
this?
an actor.
There's people that just only know Nori for Drink Champs. They don't even know CNN.
Well, that's the beauty of this show.
Yeah.
That's why we're here, and that's
Facts.
why things go
Because
so well. You're getting educated. on
Mecca
it.
said something about being protective of hip hop. Where do you think our biggest flaws or our letdowns is of this culture not protecting hip hop?
Yeah, if there was something you could change, what would it be?
Is it music business?
Y'all stumped Clark. This is impressive.
He got the answer. That's why
Oh, you're just going through the Rolodex of which one that you're going to pick.
Is it
Got
music
you.
business, politics?
That's still a stump.
Is it the history?
That's still a
Music
stump.
business is gonna be the music business. There's no politics to that shit. Like,
It was that before hip hop.
right.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not gonna. What I would change if I could would be education. Like I would make sure that it gets taught properly.
The education of hip hop or
Yeah,
music?
the education of our culture so that they can cultivate the culture. Because if you don't know it, then you're not gonna cultivate it. You know what I'm saying? I could sit here and tell you about Kool Herc. I could sit here and tell you about Flash, Breakout, Baron, JC, WizKid, all the Herc Lords. I could tell you about everything because I really, really was there. So whenever I meet, like with MCs, right? I meet a new MC and he's like, yo, I want to make this record and shit. I'm like, yo, what's the best album you ever heard? If you're not telling me something like America's Most Wanted, if you're not telling me something like Reasonable Doubt, Life After Death, Ready to Die, if you're not telling me shit like that, I'm like, you're gonna have a hard time trying to make me believe that you're gonna make those records. So what I used to do was send MCs home with homework. Go listen to Ready to Die, go listen to America's Most Wanted.
They don't do that no more, though. That was part of the game back then.
The reason why it's hard to do now is because they don't necessarily care. Because they're like, I could put a record out tomorrow and this shit could be hot. Hot cools down.
Yeah. Doesn't equal good.
Right, it doesn't equal good. It equals hot.
But
Classic
do you
with
take
Thomas.
into account for moments of impact and what resonates with people? Like for Southern dudes, whatever that moment was, where there's a lot of South rappers, 50 Cent matters to them.
Well, 50 Cent matters to them because they make records like 50. 50
Yeah,
made
but-
records like Down South Dudes.
Right.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like whatever that moment was, that's their origin.
That's their genesis. Like a lot of people
Yes,
look
that's
at
what I'm saying.
Dipset like they
They're-
are the beginning of their rap career.
Yeah.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like,
Do you take account for that, you know?
well, there is a count for that, and that's fair. But at the same time, it would be you asked me, like, if I could change something, what I would change is the education of hip-hop.
education of hip-hop.
Because, yeah, like, you don't think 50 Cent comes from somewhere?
Rakim.
Right.
You don't think Dipset comes from somewhere?
Look, everybody in the world knows George Washington.
Got you.
Got to teach.
That's fair.
You got to cultivate our culture. Our culture that grows and lives and breathes and changes every day came from something, and 90% of the kids in the culture don't know
What it sounds like, you and Math need to get together and make a documentary.
I don't think a doc is.
It's not about a documentary.
Yeah.
It's about continuing education.
I mean,
You have to understand,
yeah.
like, hip hop is really a culture in America that has spread across the whole world, but it started in America, so it belongs to us. When I say us, I mean people who live within it. I'm not saying Americans. I'm not American. I'm Panamanian.
Right.
But it belongs to the people who live within it and who dwell within it and who work within it and who help create parts of it, right? But if we're not telling the kid, yo, this is how this happened, then we're doing it a disservice. You know what I'm saying? So the educational piece of our culture, like if you ask a Muslim about Islam, he's going to tell you everything because they cultivate their culture.
Okay.
You ask a group of Italians about Sicily, they're going to tell you where the stone is made.
The town.
Because they cultivate their culture.
Rock music is the same way.
Right.
I mean-
like you can get a rock band right now, ask them what's the second record on Toys in the Attic, and they're going to tell you the drummer who played on it.
First and last name.
Right. Because it's cultivated. We're not taking care of our shit.
And it's a lack of respect. Oh, would you
I mean,
say
hip hop
that?
means a lot to me. I mean, cultivating, because even with my daughter, I sat her down and made her watch Crush Groove. I sat her down and be like, yo, this is where it came from. This is what's starting out. I made her watch the show.
But
you know what I'm saying? That's why when I say Clark,
you got to keep it going. You know what
No,
I'm
no,
saying?
I
because
do.
if you don't, then it's gonna get pushed away by some shit like a Brazilian butt lift. You know what I'm saying?
The BBL.
You know what I'm saying? It's gonna get pushed aside by something like that. Yeah. We gotta.
It's a responsibility.
We gotta take care of what's ours better.
Well, here's a question. Should it matter more to a rap artist that he's inducted in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame or the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Well, that's a tough question to ask when the Hip Hop Hall of Fame hasn't done enough to make itself that important to a hip hop artist. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the reason it's big is because it's big. You know what I'm saying? But what most people don't know is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is really a black thing because it's rock and roll is black music.
Black music.
So if anything, we should be cool with that. But we look at it and go rock and roll. I ain't know. I'm a rapper. I ain't know rock and roll. Well, I'm sorry. Well, did that mean Run DMC don't belong there? Does that mean Grandmaster Flash don't belong there? Rock and roll is our music.
But when you don't teach the culture, now we look at rock and roll.
There's
as
no
white boy
music
shit.
on the planet that belongs to anybody else than black music. None, because all music comes from the first song that was ever created, and that was by a black man or a woman. The original music comes from the original people, and that's all black. And the second song came from the first song. You can't get to the second song unless there's a first song. And those first songs, that's us, B. We the first people to walk the planet. Now, if people could get pride in that, maybe you could have pride in taking your culture.
If that could be taught in schools.
Well, that's the thing. When you're in America, a town that was built on racism, you can't wait for them to teach that in school. You got to teach that to your kids.
At home.
Right.
So that when they get to school, they can question the teacher and be like, you bugging.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Think about the Lone Ranger. Or Mozart. You know about those, right? So when I heard about Bass Reeves, I'm like, they hijacked his whole story.
When my pop sat me down and told me cowboy,
Break it down.
was some black people shit, fucked my whole head up.
Yeah,
I forgot we were even watching, but he was like, who you know gets called boy in this country? The cowboys were sent out to do the work. Like, what did you think
Bass
it was?
Reeves and Lone Ranger shit fucked me up.
I mean, just think about the fact that we have light and it's invented by a black man and we know it.
Yeah.
For a fact, and they still give the white man the credit. But we know the black man invented light, electricity. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
I think
every day that goes by, people are realizing more and more like how important it is to just take pride in who you are.
Don't dim your light.
Clark.
It's hot for trapper turn smack rapper. Only smack rapper that you know is smack rappers. Got bars I can hang with the backpackers. Trap star, I don't hang with the backpackers. I'm in the hood with the work you heard. Making fiends leave earth you heard. Got your baby mama thirst you heard. Feel the flow, nigga, throw it in reverse. This the wave you need to surf you heard.